Hi everybody, this is Romy. I just wanted to go over just a real quick to-do on my ranking spreadsheet. So I posted it in the file section and there was some questions, and so I thought that it would just be a little bit easier to go over it and explain a little bit. So I'm going to share my screen, and it's my example one that I usually share with people. Can you see that, Callie? So Callie has hopped on with me, and so this will be great. Then she can kind of be the devil's advocate or ask questions or whatever. So this is something that I started really pretty close to the beginning because I really wanted to be able to track and see where I was at with things. I'm just going to turn my phone down quick. And so I color code and I go according to different shades. So I just threw some names in here. So so Sally would be like, say, your number one qualifying leader. So she's on your front line. And then like Sue and Bob would be her qualifying leader. So what I do in that is that I just move them over into the center part. So I put my qualifying leaders in the dark, then I put their qualifying leaders in the lighter shades and then move them to the middle so I know who that is. Because sometimes what we have is that we'll have somebody on our top line and they'll be our qualifying for a while, but then all of a sudden if we have placed somebody underneath them as well, which is that's wise to do, that person may possibly start to move past that frontline leader. And so what I have done in that is that I would do, like, my top line leader would be there for a little bit, and say Bob is the one that started to go a little bit faster, then I would also put Bob kind of over to the left as well, darken the color, just whatever it is that you would want to do in order to differentiate what's happening with each individual leader. In the beginning, we will, ideally, if you're going to move to silver, you need three leaders that are going to reach that 3,000 volume, but we don't always start with that. So still put those names there and then put a shade there or a blank space, but you're leaving space for that next leader that is going to be coming on. So you really want to be able to leave that space. So when you're tracking the OV, you just put the number in and it will automatically tally for you. What I have done moving forward, so when I went blue, my spreadsheet looks very, very different than this than it did in the beginning. So I actually track 2 and 3 levels deep, depending on what's happening, because it really gives us an opportunity to be able to really see and identify the people that might need a little bit of extra assistance, or just kind of to see what it's called taprooting. I did that before I even knew what taprooting was, but it really helps you to kind of see what's going on with that. So that's what I do with that. And you'll want to put all of the leaders that you have in these different areas here. And then I really did go in and fill it in every single day. It was very good to help me to stay on track and focused in what was happening. And when you come to the end of the month and you see that there's a leader that's under your top leader that is, missing $20 in volume, and that leader could be, executive or elite, or I've had it where people are getting ready to hit silver and I am tracking their leaders' numbers, and I can call and say, oh my gosh, you're almost silver. Do you need something? Is there anything I can do to help you? And so it really helps with that community and that collaborative effort and all of that. So your leader knows that they're not alone in this, and you really have somebody cheering you on. So that's that was really powerful for me. So the Callie, you asked about the tracking of the daily volume and the daily enrollments. And one of the reasons why I think that this is pretty important. So Mark actually has a little calendar that he writes down every single day, this information. And that has been an amazing tool to help him in the involvement. So we really, I mean, there's times where he's the one that says, okay, this is what's going on. And so he informs me. So we really have, it's a way for us to work together to be able to see what's happening with the volume, with the people, different things like that. So as we were doing this, I happened to go back and look at what was happening a year prior after I made Diamond. So the year before I made Diamond, my volume was like 14,000. My team volume was 14,000. I think I messed something up here. Hold on a minute. Yikes. Can you see the whole screen, or? Okay, I'm going to stop sharing and then I'll go back to it quick. Sorry about that. What in the world did I do?
It just condensed it. We're seeing it's like it zoomed in on. I'm still seeing your. Oh.
I was trying to get it so I could get in there a little bit more, but I messed up the.
Are you working on a Mac?
No. I don't know. Let's see here. There we go. Now can you see it?
Perfect.
Okay. So the year before, in July, that I made Diamond, my team volume was, it was a little over 14,000. The year that I made Diamond, which was a year later, almost to the month, my volume was 97,000. And so that was really cool for me to be able to look at the volume and the growth and all of that. And so when we have a month that's kind of slow, like in the spring, you know, if it seems like we're kind of struggling a little bit, it's good to be able to go back and look at these to be able to say, oh, well, it was kind of like this last year at this month. However, it may feel and look like I'm struggling a little bit, but look at where I'm at. Even though it feels a little slow, I'm still I'm still growing. And so it really helps to be able to gauge that growth. So I highly, highly recommend tracking of some sort, whether you're using this system or, you know, you come up with your own system or whatever. But so when I made Blue Diamond.
Romy, will you go click on more options? You'll have to go to participants and then click more so that you can people up on.
There we go. Sorry about that. So when I went blue, I had a tracking sheet for Diamond. Then I had another specific sheet for blue. And so as I was tracking for Diamond, my figures were automatically going into blue, and then they were automatically going into a presidential tab. So it made it so I could see what my progress was. So that was.
I love this. So I'm thinking about this kind of in terms of budgets. So sometimes people don't budget. Now they can tell you, they can get their receipts and collect their receipts throughout the month, and they can let you know where they spent all their money. But somebody who truly wants to budget, they need to know the money that they have, and they need to have categories, and they will only spend that much in each month. So that's the difference between, knowing what you've done and knowing what you want to do.
Right.
And one of the things that I created, it's similar to this, and I'm going to share it underneath yours. I'm going to go in and take my data out and then plug it in there. And I didn't start tracking this until I started off just being a user and a casual sharer, but with no intention of doing this as a business. And then when all of a sudden money started coming in, and I realized, like, oh my goodness, I want to do this as a business. People started to ask me, well, how long did it take you to hit silver? How long did it take you to hit gold? How many people did you have on your team? I realized I needed to have some kind of tracking system. So
Right.
I went and created this in Excel, and it's kind of a big view, and it shows. I'm more focused on the income that I made, and I had 5 weeks in every single month, and I had the fast start, the power of 3, how many people I had on my team that month, what my OV was, and then it totaled it at the end. And then I was able to use this sheet for tax purposes for part of it. And so it really helped. And then when my checks came in, or when my 1099 came in from doTERRA, I was able to pair them side by side and say, ooh, that number, I'm off a little bit. Why is that? And go
Right.
back and again. So
Right. Cool.
I love this though. Yours is about a plan, where mine was retro. Mine was showing how I spent all the money in the month. It wasn't creating a plan for making that money though. So I think we put those two pieces together, and we've got a great thing for everybody.
Yeah. I love that idea. So is that pretty explanatory? Natalie, what are your thoughts? Questions?
I jumped in, obviously you saw me.
Yeah.
I jumped in about halfway, so I guess I missed the beginning part, but I guess mine is, compared to y'all, I'm very baby. So
We all were.
right, but no, I understand tracking. I guess what I was doing before was like Callie, I had started doing retroactively in terms of comparing my volume to my commission and my rank, and figuring out, the steps of my baby leaders and where they were. But I do like your, I can see a lot of this working for me in the future. Because right now, I don't know. Like, it's very interesting to me. I'm trying to figure out how I think about it. I'm so sorry.
Oh, that's okay.
I can see how this would make more sense for me later. But I'm more excited, I guess, more about the seeing the benefits long term by tracking it now versus tracking it when I'm a diamond. Does that make sense?
Yep.
So if I start it now, it's like, sampling or carrying samples with you. It's a habit. You're already doing it. And then you get to grow organically, but with purpose. And I have an upline who grows organically, which is great. It's awesome. But I don't do that. I like to plan it a little better. I don't need it to be so rigid, but I need it to be more. And right now, how doTERRA is organizing my team, and I could look on my screens, is very exciting to me because I can see it. It's very easy. But I know that that's going to change as my team grows and I have less, I have more than 40 people, so once, that becomes 400 people, I can see it being more of a struggle to put all the pieces together. Whereas if I just start building it now, one brick at a time, pretty soon I'll have this whole beautiful wall, and I will have the numbers to tell my future people, oh, well, it took X amount for this person and X amount of time for this person. And I really like that. Really, really like that.
Natalie, you're exactly right. It took a lot of time to go back in 8 or 9 months later and I had to get all of my check stubs and get them out and look back through it. And there's only so much, like there are many holes in that first 9 months because I couldn't go back and see how many enrollments I had that month or how many. So I had to guess, based on, I remember a conversation when somebody asked me, how many people do you have on your team? And I remember saying to her, almost 100. And this was back in April of 2013. And so in April of 2013, on my Excel sheet, I put a little less than mark and put 100 because I knew it was really close, but it was less than 100. And so having to rebuild a spreadsheet based on that was more difficult. And so by you starting it now, just, you may not have every box, every cell filled, but fill what you do have. You're so right. You're going to build this brick by brick. You're going to have this whole wall.
Yeah.
I have a question, and it's kind of related to this, but not really, if you guys don't mind.
No.
So, I am an elite, and I lost my elite status. I was hitting executive for the last couple of months, so I just hit elite again this month. Yay for me. So right now, my husband and I are talking a lot about, I know when you get kind of a silver-ish, you want to start thinking about doing like an LLC and a business and keeping track for write-off and tax purposes. Am I wrong in thinking this? Okay. So my question is, does these forms help with that? Like tax-wise for businesses? I don't know how this works. So that's kind of, I'm not asking for your paycheck or your taxes or how you do things. I'm just more like, does this help you write things off as your business later?
Yes.
Yeah, anything that you can keep track of is going to help you and protect you. So that's the main thing, is the protection for audit, all of that stuff. So you can never keep track too much.
So these specific worksheets are going to focus more on the profit side or the income side, and you'll want to have another system for tracking your write-offs. And I can share with you what I do, and I can do that on this call, or we could do another one. You want to just keep it together all in this? Would that be good?
Let's do another one. So this one is going to be a little bit more, little shorter, so it can go right in with this spreadsheet. But yeah, I think that would be awesome to have something separate on that, because I know that that's a huge question and it's going to be really valuable because everybody needs to know about that.
Well, I think this is a good little series for us to have underneath that post, because it's got our numbers again.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
okay. So we'll end this one, and then I'll put something up for that.
Okay. I just wanted to mention, Natalie, quick about what you were talking about with being small. So before we recorded, Callie and I were talking about when I first started, I lived on my graphic tree. And so in the very beginning, for the first couple months, maybe not quite that long, but it was me, and then it was Lateran. And I would go there and I would look, and I would just look at my graphic tree, and I would look at all the empty space, and I would seriously visualize how my graphic tree was going to grow. And so that really is some of what this spreadsheet will help you with as well. So that's why I only filled in, Sue and Bob on here, because this Sue and Bob, that is pretty much reality as leaders are starting off. We don't always start off with those 3 people, but if you make space for those leaders, they're going to come in. So you want to visually and psychologically and all of that, spiritually, everything, make space for them and really visualize what those people look like, what their characteristics are, and really this will help to do the visualizing, to see what you have, what you need, and where you're going. because it doesn't stay this small, trust me. Now it's like really, it's very big now. So that's just food for thought. So.
Do you guys also keep track of promotions and both what you offer and what doTERRA offers? Like, so Romy, you keep track on your team volume of September 1 through 30. And obviously, the last 2 years that I've been in it, and I'm sure you guys have better history, September is usually a 200 PV month. So do you keep a track of that promotion as, like, do you notate it saying, like, this is a 200 PV month, and then you can track that, or do you just track and just know in your head that September is a large volume month because of what doTERRA offers?
That's a great idea to track like that. That's a really good idea to have the notations in there. I don't do that, but that would be something that I think would be good to add to it.
I don't do it on paper either. I just know in my head that historically, every third month, doTERRA is going to offer a bigger than normal. So the last month in every quarter, historically, doTERRA does that. Historically, in September, it's been Immortelle. If you do a 200 PV order, historically, it's going to be frankincense. If you do a 200 PV order in December, historically, we've had the jasmine and rose incentive in the early spring. Typically, there's a big deep blue incentive. Is it typically in March, Romy? And so, yeah. What is it? There is a cycle. There is an incentive cycle that doTERRA follows, and it was I think for the first year that I was in, it went around lifelong vitality, like LRP enrollments, and then OV. LRP enrollments, and then so they're going to incentivize each of those things in a cycle every 3 months is what they've done so far. And then every once in a while they'll throw in an extra something. And so
cool. All right. So if that's all the questions you have, then we'll just close this out, and it's just something short and sweet just to explain. Thanks for showing up, you guys. I appreciate it. Made it a lot more fun.